Welcome to Safety Chats. Host Jason Stark, Director of Safety at Baldwin Safety and Compliance, shares decades of aviation experience and a passion for safety, with an emphasis on healthy and robust safety cultures in aviation and transportation organizations. Since 2004, Baldwin has partnered with transportation providers to help pilots, safety managers, frontline teams, and others to integrate, document, and build positive safety cultures in organizations. Each podcast episode will focus on an element of safety that can help you in your workplace, whether it's a cockpit, vehicle, or hangar. Let's get started with this week's Safety Chat.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Safety Chat podcast. I tried my announcer voice there. I don't know if it really worked or not, but hey, welcome all. I'm so happy you're here with me. We have some really, I think, meaty topics to talk today. Not needy, but meaty, like heady, like good stuff that makes you think and makes you wonder how your behavior, especially your behavior as a leader, and we are safety leaders, but how that behavior can really drive individuals to participate in the safety management system. So we're going to go through that a little bit, and I have a little selfless claim, or a selfless request, I should say. I don't know if it's selfless or not at the end. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. And I kind of want to talk about this notion of safety citizenship behavior. We're not talking about some dystopian society where you have certain kinds of citizens who all fall in line and report safety concerns. No, it's this idea of safety citizenship behavior is actually really interesting. And it is this notion that a safety citizen is one who will go above and beyond what is expected in their job description to perform actions to better the safety environment or to better the safety position of an organization. So when we think about some of the stuff we do in the safety management system, especially the front line, like our pilots or mechanics or line service technicians, whoever it may be, that reporting, especially when it's called voluntary reporting, it's not required. It's not a requirement of the job. It's not their promotions, raises, vacation time. It's not predicated upon how many safety reports they submit. So it's something that's above and beyond their job description. And so when individuals engage in that because they want to improve the safety of the organization, that is referred to as safety citizenship behavior. So really, really interesting topic to think about. And especially when we want to talk about engagement. And engagement happens to be one of the most difficult things to tackle, especially for a director of safety or safety manager in the safety management system. Because we need that participation. If you're not going to have people in your software tool, if you happen to use a software tool, or with the reporting forms, if they're still paper forms, if you're not going to have people, if you can't get people to provide information, then basically all the inputs can be from the director of safety, and it's going to be very little. You need that frontline input, and that is what allows us to identify emerging hazards, identify controls that are failing or possibly failing, or just even monitor the controls. We really need that input from people, so we need them to be engaged. And this idea of engagement too is interesting because we have to ask, well, how does one become engaged? And there is a theory out there, it's called Vroom's expectancy theory, like vroom, vroom, like a car goes vroom, vroom. But Vroom's expectancy theory, one of the components of the expectancy theory is called valence. And valence really refers to how important the reward or outcome of a task is to that individual. So let's look at the task, submitting a report. The outcome of the report is improving safety or making leadership aware of safety concerns. We have to think, well, how important is that outcome to that individual submitting that report? And that is key. If the outcome is intrinsically important, then we can say that they are basically a safety citizen. Now, there is extrinsic rewards. There are some reporting programs that give gift cards, and maybe the gift card is more important to the individual than improving safety, and that would be an extrinsic reward. But I have my own thoughts on paying for reporting, but different podcasts. But it's that intrinsic reward that we're looking for. And that is part of being a safety citizen. And that is what's really cool, is that the reward of knowing that they are bettering the safety of the organization is all that they need. And that, my friends, is what we call a safety citizenship, or a safety citizen practicing safety citizenship behaviors. So you might ask the question, well, how do we make safety citizens? Which ultimately, how do we increase engagement? And I will tell you, I think, and this is me, I think it really boils down to leadership. And why not? We talk about leadership as being the influence or the linchpin for culture. So it makes sense that this idea of leadership would really have an impact on individuals practicing safety citizenship behaviors and developing into safety citizens. So let's explore the idea of leadership briefly. After we take a break, I'm going to go grab some coffee. I'll be right back.
If you are thinking about upping your safety training, or maybe you are in need of CAM credits for aviation manager certification, you should think Baldwin. Visit baldwinvirtualtraining.com to learn more. Now, back to Safety Chats with Jason Stark.
So welcome back. Right before we went on break, we just talked about the idea of leadership being very important in driving the development of safety citizens. And I think that is actually key, because what is leadership? So leadership and management are different. Obviously, management is the allocation of resources and people and whatever to get a task done. Management is usually very positional. Leadership, on the other end, is not positional. It is about influence. It is about inspiring, encouraging individuals in a certain direction towards organizational goals. And when you think of it that way, you don't have to be the CEO to be a leader. In fact, we could be leaders. Our safety managers, we could be leaders. We can lead. We can even lead up. We can influence those that are above us. And that's a fascinating thought in itself. Again, probably for another podcast. But the idea of leadership is influence. And another beautiful thing about leadership is that it can be learned. And that is key. Back in the day, there was this idea. It was called the great man theory, that leaders are born, that they're a great man or woman, but that's not true. That's not true. Leaders can be taught. You can learn leadership. So when we look at different types of leaderships, there are different styles or different approaches to leadership. There's transformational leadership, transactional leadership. There is theory X, Y, whatever it might be. There are all these different approaches to leadership, but I want to talk about one. And again, this goes to my selfless ask here at the end. But one type of leadership called servant leadership has become very popular in the last decade. In fact, we see a lot of organizations practicing it and seeing good results from it. And servant leadership is this idea where, and I'm really broad brushing it, but where the leader gets behind the follower. So it is a push style of leadership rather than a pull. And in essence, the leader is putting the follower's needs, desires, above his or her own in order to rally them towards organizational goals. Now just let that simmer for a second. You might say, well, servant leadership, that's an oxymoron. Or servant leadership sounds weak. And that's not true. That's not true. Servant leaders are some of the most courageous leaders around. And it's this idea of denying the self in order to bolster the follower. And in essence, through that, you are influencing them to rally around what organizational goals may be. So when you look at servant leadership and safety citizenship behavior, I think that there's a good connection there, but not a direct connection. And let me explain. I think when you have servant leaders that really care for the follower's needs, you're starting to create employees who are very committed to the organization. Because they say, wow, this leader is really behind me, really cares for my development, really cares about me. I am committed. It's kind of a social exchange theory type thing, where the leader is inspiring those individuals to be committed to the organization. And I think it is through that organizational commitment. When you have people that are strongly committed to an organization, they're going to want to go above and beyond to better that organization. And let's put that in the context of safety. If you have people really strongly committed to an organization, I truly believe that they are going to want to better the safety because they want to see that organization thrive. They want to see it endure. They want to make sure that everybody else around them, even their leaders, are safe. So maybe I'm looking at some Pollyanna solution here, but I really think that's the case. And I would love to find out. And then here's where we come with my selfless ask. But I would love to find out. So I am currently doing a study, and I am seeing how servant leadership influences safety citizenship behavior through organizational commitment. So this is the study that I'm doing. And I think it really could I guess, pan out interesting results. So the idea is, based on the findings, that if we see that servant leadership is directly connected to organizational commitment, which is directly connected to safety citizenship behavior, going forward, we may have a template of how not only safety managers, but also organization leaders can lead to improve engagement in the safety management system, because this is what it's all about. We need people to be engaged, not only in good safety behavior, but in the systems and processes that help us identify what can hurt individuals. So if you could do me a huge favor, if you could take 10 minutes, in the description of this podcast, there's a link to the survey. If you could take 10 minutes and fill it out. Yeah, we do restrict it to Part 135 operators in the U.S., and there's a reason for that, and it's because of the impending regulations. We kind of want to know, okay, how can we get this SMS thing going, especially once the government regulates it. But if you have the time, 10 minutes, I would really super appreciate it. I hope you learned something today, at least spark some thoughts. If you would, drop me a line. If what you think of this topic or any of the other topics, or if there's a topic you'd love to talk about, love to hear from you. And I hope to, quote unquote, see you at the next podcast. Stay safe, everyone.
This podcast is brought to you by Baldwin Safety and Compliance, the leader in safety management for the transportation industry. Since 2004, Baldwin has been providing state-of-the-art solutions and 24/7 support to the aviation and transportation industries. Baldwin's clients include all sizes and types of transportation operators. Baldwin provides safety and related business services to commercial and non-commercial transportation operators, medical transporters, FBOs, MROs, airports, flight schools, UAS operators, firefighters, OEMs, ground transport operators, and others. Visit BaldwinSMS.com to discover how Baldwin can enhance your organization's safety program.